What's going on, you guys? It is your boy Matt Talks Films. I am back with another video. I am back with another review, and this time I'm talking about the newest Stephen King film adaptation, The Long Walk, starring David Johnson and starring Cooper Hoffman. And I will tell you this, when I first saw the trailer of this film, I was intrigued. Seemed like an interesting concept. I really enjoy David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman's previous work. I think highly of both of these actors, and I was just excited to see the movie. Wasn't expecting something great or exceptional. I was expecting just to see a good movie or a solid one. However, as the movie's release got closer and closer, the critics were raving about it. People who've seen it earlier than me were raving about it. So, as I sat down in the theater watching the previews, I realized how high my expectations were for this film. And I realized also that they probably shouldn't be this high because of how dystopian and how silly the concept of this film ultimately is. And I will be honest to start with you guys, parts of me and my brain are disappointed with the film I got. Another part of my brain slash body is really impressed and really goddamn happy with the performances I got from both Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson. However, with the rest of this movie, not really impressed. And I think if it wasn't for David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman, this movie would be really bad, if not really below mediocre. So, with that said, like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel at Matt Talks Films. Follow me everywhere at Matt Talks Films. And let's get into my opinions and the plot of this movie. The Long Walk. I haven't read the book, so keep that in mind. I have not read the book. So maybe if I read the book, my opinion of this film would be better and way more full of praise. But I did not read the book. And I heard the book is really good. And I know Stephen King is one of the greatest creatives that we've ever gotten, period. So maybe I should check out the book, but I haven't read the book. So keep that in mind as you watch this video. So what is The Long Walk about? The Long Walk is pretty similar to a lot of dystopian movies or series you've seen in the past. The Long Walk. It's a contest slash game held in a dystopian world post-war, and the United States, as we know it, is struggling economically. So what does the general decide to do? He holds a walk every year. 50 participants, one from each state. Whoever's the last man walking wins this abundance of money that we never know the sum of, and the general will grant one wish of yours. That's the plot of this movie. You have to keep a pace of 3 miles per hour, and that's really it. Last man walking wins. That's the plot of this movie. Interesting plot. And obviously, you die if you stop walking 3 miles per hour. You get 3 warnings. If you don't comply after the 3rd warning, you get shot. You get ticketed. That's the plot of this movie. So, you're dead, or you end up being the last man winning. There is no life if you don't finish him first. I think war, and particularly the Vietnam War and the draft, is pretty much an inspiration for what this film is, and especially for the novel that Stephen King wrote. So, what did I think of this movie? All the things you've been hearing about Cooper Hoffman's performance and David Johnson's performance in this film is entirely accurate. David Johnson first caught my eye for Alien Romulus, which is a film that on first watch I liked, but I had severe problems with not only morals of mine, but the story and some of the plot lines of that movie. However, the one great takeaway from that movie with me was David Johnson is going to be a star, and that performance he has in Alien Romulus did not deserve to be as great as it was. I think David Johnson is going to be one of the best actors we have as we continue to watch the new age cinema unfold. I think he is one of the most certified performers we have. I think this guy, what he brings to the screen is so goddamn refined and so goddamn great. What he does in this film has no right being as great as it is. I mean, think about the film and the plot I just told you about. David Johnson goes to the fucking stars and to the moon with his performance. I was getting ready to come on here and be like, I felt no emotional connection to the story and to the plot of this film for about 95% of it. However, the last sequence we get between Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson, I will not spoil what it is, did emotionally affect me, and it did emotionally connect with me. Didn't make me cry, but it got to me. And you know what? It has nothing to do with the story. It has nothing to do with the substance matter, despite the act being committed is a beautiful one. The main reason why it emotionally connected to me and emotionally affected me was how great David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman were in that scene, particularly David Johnson. The emotion he conveys throughout that scene is truly, truly signs of a great actor. I think David Johnson is special, and I think he's going to win an Oscar one day. If there was a bet to place on any sports book you can name, David Johnson to win an Oscar in the next 10 years, he is winning an Oscar, and that is a certified bet. I don't know what the odds of that would be. Maybe it's probably around like plus 200 if I had to calculate my degenerate brain real quick. But yeah, David Johnson is the real deal, and this performance is another example of that. He first of all made Alien Romulus, which is a visually Fede Alvarez is a good visual director. He's made the remake of Evil Dead, which I really liked. He was cooking in that Alien Romulus film. He led astray in parts of that movie, which ultimately affected my views of that movie. Him having a part in casting David Johnson in that film, I will forever thank him for that, because that was the first movie I was introduced to David Johnson, and everything I've seen David Johnson in since, he is just an absolute special actor. And this film's another example of that, and I can't wait to see what David Johnson does in the future. I think this man has the juice, he has the sauce, and he clearly has the artistic intangibles to be a really terrific actor and one of the best actors we will know going forward. I can't wait to see him in better films, though. Don't get me wrong, The Long Walk is a solid movie, a solid one. Alien Romulus, despite my major problems with the movie, is a solid one. I can't wait to see David Johnson not only give a transcendent performance in a better movie, I can't wait to see him give a transcendent performance in a transcendent film. A film that will be remarkably rewatchable and one of the best films of the year. With Alien Romulus and The Long Walk, those two are not close to some of the best films of the year. Don't get me wrong, they are solid, but I think they are not as memorable as I would want them to be. Despite there being rewatchability within The Long Walk because of how easy it is to watch. I'll get to that soon. However, I want to talk about another great performance in this film. Cooper Hoffman. Let's just get this out the way. Cooper Hoffman, the shoes he ultimately is forced to fill, because yet Philip Seymour Hoffman is his father. He passed away tragically. He met his fate too soon. The shoes that Cooper Hoffman has to fill are gigantic ones. Philip Seymour Hoffman is one of the very great actors of all time. I mean, it's really evident that he is, and he is one of my favorite actors of all time. That man was a savant. He was truly an actor's actor. He was probably your actor's favorite actor. That man was special. So for Cooper Hoffman to, one, somewhat filling these footsteps so far in his early acting career, and for two, me honestly forgetting he is, yeah, a Nepo baby. He is such a good actor, Cooper Hoffman. I loved him in Licorice Pizza. Thought he was pretty goddamn great here as well. I think he is goddamn great in this movie. His not only is his chemistry with David Johnson great, the performances by these two just dominate this entire movie. They just do. Cooper Hoffman is so goddamn good, and I admire him not feeling this pressure of who his father was, and just him clearly loving the craft that he wants to do with his life. And he is great in this movie. I think his chemistry with David Johnson is great, and I think what he brings to this character and the ultimate performance he gives is such a great performance that when you look at the rest of the actors in this movie, besides David Johnson, there are major discrepancies. Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson are way, 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 way better actors than the rest of the actors we see in this film. And that is no offense to the rest of the actors in this movie. That just truly points out how great of an actor both these two men are. I love these two. I would love to see more of these two in the same film together in the future. And I do think it's highly likely that both of these men will win Oscars one day, and I'm pretty goddamn certain that they will be of high notoriety. They will be two actors where they will be heavily sought after by every filmmaker you know. I mean, Cooper Hoffman is already heavily sought after by PTA. He casted him in Licorice Pizza. So I really think these two are going to be great actors, and they're going to be very noteworthy ones, and I think they're going to dominate and continue to carry films like this one in the future. Like, they will continue to carry films throughout their entire career, because honestly, they've already started to do that. I really think without Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson in this film is like a 2 or 2.5, maybe even lower, maybe even one of the worst movies of the year. The carry job that David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman put on for us is similar to LeBron in '07, bringing that Cavs team to the finals to play the Spurs. Except it's not one person in LeBron, it's two people in Johnson and Cooper Hoffman. These two are special, and they prove it to us. Ultimately, this film is a vehicle, or a canvas, if I had to say it artistically, to display how great of an actor both these two men are. And I'm completely fine with that. I wasn't really emotionally connected with the substance matter of the story. I think the intrigue and the fascination of this premise ultimately weared off too fast for me. And I think what kept me heavily intrigued and fascinated with this film had nothing to do really with the story. It had to do with Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson's performance. That's really what I cared about watching, and that's what I was most intrigued with as this film continued to go on. Like, don't get me wrong, the premise is intriguing, but for not as long as I wanted it to be. Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson's performances continue to be intriguing and goddamn impressive throughout the entirety of the runtime. The different set of emotions both of these two men convey are mightily impressive, and honestly, I won't go as far to say these two performances are two of the best performances of the year, but goddamn it, they're in the conversation. Like, I think Joaquin Phoenix is the best performance of the year, and I think the performances in Weapons are incredible, and particularly Austin Abrams, um, and Josh Brolin and Gardner. But I think these two are in the same tier, if not in the tier below it. These two give great performances, and they carry this film quite evidently and mightily. Like, you feel how much they're carrying this film, especially when you're watching the other actors in this film perform. Mark Hamill is fine. He's solid. He is a solid actor. He's fine in this movie. Can't discredit him. Judy Greer is horrible. I mean, she's the mother of Cooper Hoffman's character, and whenever they're on the screen together, Cooper Hoffman, who has not been an actor as long as Judy Greer has been an actor, is egregiously outperforming Judy Greer in every scene. There's a scene in this film where they're on like mile 257, and it's just three people left, and Cooper Hoffman is walking, and he sees his mother because now they're in his hometown. And what unfolds in that scene is a display of not only an actor being severely better than another actor, but the actor they are competing with or sharing the screen with in that scene is just so bad, and there's a clear and evident discrepancy that it almost made me laugh. So yeah, Judy Greer is horrible in this movie, horrible, and just about everyone else in this movie is bad. Yeah, the characters in this movie are kind of interesting. Like, there are some characters in this movie that I found really interesting. In particular, I thought Stebbins was interesting. I thought Baker was interesting. And I thought Barkovich was interesting. I even thought parts of Olsen's character was interesting. However, the actors that play those characters are not good. And honestly, when you look at their filmographies, like Ben Wang plays Olsen. He was in the newest Karate Kid. I found myself enjoying parts of the newest Karate Kid, but ultimately that movie is forgettable, and it's not a good movie. And honestly, he is not that good in it. He is bad in this movie, Ben Wang as Olsen. Ben Wang as Olsen is bad, and it's evident, and it takes you away from the movie in parts. There's a character in this film called Barkovich, and at first I really liked what they were doing with Barkovich. I thought at first he was supposed to be this guy who was trying to throw off the rest of his competitors in this long walk. Like, there's a scene in this movie where he's talking to another competitor and messing around with him, saying jokes about his mother, forcing that competitor to let up on his mile per hour walk and ultimately get killed. But we find out that he wasn't doing that on purpose, like he wasn't trying to get that dude killed. I thought his character, Barkovich's character, would be a lot more interesting if he was this character who's trying to sabotage others so he can win. Except he's not that character. That was a weird creative choice, and I don't know if that's in the novel. Did not like that. And also, I thought they just could have casted better actors to help out David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman. But ultimately, I really thought that this film was just a vehicle to display how great these two are. And I'm actually kind of surprised. Yeah, I know they're not the biggest things in Hollywood yet. I'm kind of surprised they even did this movie. I think they maybe realized, like, hey, we need to showcase how great we are. Yeah, we've showcased it in the past with Licorice Pizza and Alien Romulus, but we need to really show how great we are and be the true main leads in a movie together. People will remember this movie because of how great these two are, and I think ultimately they made the right choice. But I do think it is a surprising one. I do think this movie feels beneath them. Like when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, man, these two are so great. This movie almost feels beneath them. And that's crazy to say because of how early they are in their careers, but this movie truly feels beneath both David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman at times, and honestly for about 95% of the runtime. Really, I just really did not like some of the character decisions in this movie. And I really did not like the supporting actors in this movie. And listen, I'm a gruesome guy. I'm a gruesome guy. I don't mind blood in movies. I don't shy away from gruesome scenes or blood in movies. In fact, I really enjoyed Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3. However, I do think some of the death scenes in this movie just felt gruesome and really did not add much to the movie. And I think the CGI for some of the gruesomeness in this film looked bad. I think some of the most effective death scenes in this film were when the fellows were walking and they heard the gunshot in the back, and when the fellows were walking and you heard the gunshot in the background, or you see a silhouette of a character getting shot in the head, and you don't see this up close shot of the character getting shot through the cheek or shot through the top of their head. Because the scenes we do see those two things in, the CGI is not good. So yeah, it's funny. This film is felt similar to Squid Games. It really did, and I know this novel came way before Squid Games, but it felt really close to Squid Games at times, and I think that was a clear inspiration for the directors and filmmakers of this film when making this movie, especially with some of the things that the characters are dealing with. I think my expectations for this movie got way too high for what I knew this film was about. And that's partially on me. I've been rightfully praiseful of the two main lead performances in this film by Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson, but if I had to compliment something else about this film, here's what the compliments would be. I really enjoyed seeing the character traits of certain characters in this film, and I really enjoyed watching how people changed over time during this long walk. Like, there's scenes in this movie where they deal with uh, people having seizures, succumbing to natural causes of the effects that this type of challenge would inflict on the participants in them. Like, there's a scene in this film where a person has succumbed to shits. Like, they're having the shits. And they ultimately die because of how bad they have to take a shit. Like, there's a point in this movie where he pulls down his pants. Some character pulls down their pants and keeps on shitting, like squirting out shit. It's hilarious. It's so funny. It's not necessarily played in a comedic way. It's just played to demonstrate how realistic and drastic the effects of this challenge can be on its participants. But I laughed because honestly, I can relate to having the shit so bad that you're not gonna stop me from taking this shit. Like, if you have to kill me, kill me. But I have to take this shit, and I will take this shit instead of participating in this challenge because I have to take a shit so bad. Just kill me. Like, parts of me related to what the fuck was going on with that character in that scene. That says something about my upset stomach and probably some traumatic experiences in my past, but I understood whoever that character was. I really enjoyed the characteristic traits of characters, and I really enjoyed seeing the involvement and deterioration of characters ultimately throughout the challenge. That was a really exciting part of this film for me, especially with Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson. I know I'm complimenting him again, but I'm also complimenting the special effects and practical effects when it comes to noticeable deteriorations on the certain characters. Like, when we're on the last day or the second to last day, you completely see Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson, but you completely see how quickly they are being affected and how drastically different their faces look, and like how they haven't had much sleep. There's parts in this scene where Cooper Hoffman's character falls asleep while he's walking, but like you can clearly tell that these men have not really slept. Like their eyes are super droopy, their pupils are dilated. Like I really appreciated that part of this film. And those are the most memorable parts of this film, besides the two main performances. That's really where my compliments for this film stop, sadly. Yeah, I wish there was more to compliment about the film, but really it's just the performances by the two leads, the character traits of the characters in this film, and the noticeable deteriorations for the characters, whether it's in practical effects or just how the characters are talking and how the characters are reacting to having the shits or having to take a piss or getting hungry or feeling the long drastic effects of walking for this long. I really appreciated that aspect of this film. I was stuck between like a 3.5, and 4. The lowest I got was like a 2.5. But I truly think David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman's performances in this movie earn like a star and a half. I think the ultimate premise of this film gets at least a star or two. I really think the concept is an interesting one, and I think some of the commentaries that are evident are really interesting. But like I said, my intrigue for the ultimate premise of this film did not last as long as I wanted to. I think the supporting performances really took me out. I think the acting discrepancies in this film are so large that it takes me out. And yeah, the main takeaway of this film was a catalyst, a canvas, a vehicle to display how great Johnson and Cooper Hoffman are. I'm not mad at that. I really enjoyed this film solely for the performances of Hoffman and Johnson. I feel like I've said Cooper Hoffman and Johnson's name like 100 times in this video, but somehow I haven't overstated how great they are, because they truly are great. That's the ultimate takeaway from this film. Johnson and Cooper Hoffman will go on to carry films similar to this one for the rest of their careers, because that's how talented they are, and they both will probably win an Oscar. So yeah, The Long Walk is a solid movie, and I think the main reason why it's such a solid movie is due to the two lead performances. Everything about this movie feels forgettable, but I do think this movie will have some rewatchability. Like, let's say I'm flicking on the channel. I don't have cable anymore, so it's not like I'm flipping through channels like I used to, but let's say I come into the house and my sister or my mom or my dad are watching The Long Walk, and they're like, hey, come sit down and watch this movie with us. I feel like I'm going to sit down and watch this movie because it's an easy watch, and I think the performances are worth revisiting. That's the major takeaway. I wish I emotionally connected with the substance matter of this film. I wish I was emotionally connected with the story of this film more, and I wish the premise stayed as interesting as it was to open the film. But it didn't, and Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson are the true takeaways here. You need to pay attention to these two because they are surely going to be Oscar winners in the future, if not at least one of them. And if I had to say which one is most likely to win an Oscar sooner, it's David Johnson, because that man is fucking insane. That man is great in this film. So yeah, The Long Walk, a solid movie. I'm going to give this movie a 3.5 out of 5, 7 out of 10, 70 out of 100. Wish it was better. I wish I loved it as much as others, but I didn't. However, I do think it's worth the watch solely due to the premise. I think some people might like this premise and its execution more than I did. I think some people won't mind how bad the supporting actors' performances were, but I minded them. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5, 7 out of 10, 70 out of 100. I recommend it. Despite it not fully hitting the nail on the head for me, I think the performances by Johnson and Cooper Hoffman are fully worth going to the theaters for, because ultimately these two are excellent at the craft that they are in. It's your boy Matt Talks Films. Next time you'll probably see me is for a Big Bold, The Beautiful Journey, starring Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. The trailers don't look good for that movie, but it's Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. I will go see that movie, and I will tell you guys how it is. And then after that, it should be PTA's One Battle After Another, which I cannot wait for. That's a film where I'm hearing great things about, and I'm not minding it because it's PTA. It's Paul Thomas Anderson, and it's fucking Leonardo DiCaprio. So the hype should be massive. Can't wait. Maybe I'll do a video in between those films. Maybe, like, I've been seeing a lot of classics in theaters recently. Like, I just saw Shawshank Redemption, which is a film I was discrediting for the longest. Yeah, I knew it was amazing. I've seen it before. It's great. However, whenever someone put it in the greatest film of all time combo, I used to scoff at it. Then I see it today in theaters, and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't be mad if someone told me that's the greatest film of all time anymore. So yeah, it's your boy Matt Talks Films. You'll be seeing me. Let me know how you feel about The Long Walk. Like, comment, subscribe if you watched this video. If you made it this far in the video, give me a hell yeah in the comments. It's your boy Matt Talks Films. Follow me everywhere at Matt Talks Films. If you love sports, follow me at Matt Talks Sports, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You find me. I'm everywhere. I'm motivated. I'm ready to go. It's your boy Matt Talks Films. I'll see you on the flip side.